open the floor to players. And I think the whole team understands that everyone on the team is from a different, way of life, the way they grew up, their surroundings, and just, talk to people, learn, listen. And I think that's the best message that I've gotten. What I've learned is, hey, I don't need to open my mouth much. I just need to listen and, hear people talk. And so, Eric's been a great voice this entire offseason. I've learned so much from Eric, just his background and how he grew up. Same with Richard Sherman. I mean, I've learned so much just from them. And again, I just try to listen as much as I can because, that's all I need to do. And if I can listen, I can understand, then maybe I can help.
Hey, George, I know every player always says they want to get better at everything in the off season, but obviously you've accomplished a lot to this point in your career. Are there specific things that you want to get better at that you have that, maybe worked on in the off season, or specific points that you've been kind of hammering home this off season and into camp?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the year, you always go back and you look at, your best games, your worst games, your best plays, your worst plays. But I really, my entire offseason, my whole thing is I just try to get better at one thing every single day. So whether that's conditioning, whether that's a certain route, the top of that route, my hands in the run game, my hands in the pass pro. And so I just try to get better at one thing. I'd say specifically for me, things that I focus on. I'm in pass pro on defensive ends kind of often. And so that's one thing I can always improve at, because being 240, 245 versus a 300-pound guy, it's kind of tough for me. So I got to slide my feet, get my hands inside. And so I watch a lot of film on that. Spent a lot of time watching Davante Adams releases, just how he approaches the game, because I'm split out wide a lot too. And so I just try to dabble in a little bit of everything and try to learn from the best of the biz.
George, just given the nature of this training camp and the fact it was a little bit shorter, do you feel like, looking back on it now that the season's coming, that you guys were able to get the necessary preparation in? And given that you guys do have some continuity and are coming off what you did last year, what advantages does that give you going into the season?
I think one of the biggest things that allowed us to do was we kind of, the vets and the older guys kind of showed the young guys and our new teammates, free agents, how we practice and the standard that we practice at. And I think all of last year we practiced really hard. We practiced really well, week in and week out, and that's why we were able to perform like we did on Sundays. A lot of that's on, Coach Shanahan and how he structures everything and how he allows us to, get our bodies right. But he takes care of us, but he expects us to go out there and fly around every single day in practice. And so, when he gives us that time to recover our bodies, he expects us, to go out and ball out. And so I think that's the best thing that we did was we taught these younger guys, hey, the expectations have increased significantly from college to the NFL. And our standard is our standard is way up here and how we practice. And so, I think, like I said, that's the best thing I think we've taught the young guys.
Hey, George, how did that week off from practice help you recover your body? And just kind of what's the vibe with so many, I guess, it seems like half the potential starters have been doing rehab the last week or two. How do you kind of keep a mood upbeat heading into the season among those circumstances?
Well, the mood upbeat, that's pretty easy for us. We have fun every single day. It is fun, we do have a lot of starters out, rehabbing and stuff like that, but we're also very interactive in our practices. We're always on the sideline. We're always, chirping and talking, getting better. One thing I will say, that I loved about it, Charlie Warner got, with no preseason games, our rookies, they don't have a taste of what the NFL's like, from Kinlaw to Brandon, Charlie. We have a lot of guys that, have never played an NFL game, and that is one area where the preseason games really help. And so, Charlie's been taking 1 reps for 5 days now, straight, and the improvements that I've seen on him just in my tight end room are just enormous, and it's so fun to see because, he's going to be out there on, whenever we play the Cardinals, and he's going to have a big role in the game. And I think without those reps every single day, I don't know if he would be ready. And, when I look at him now as compared to a week ago, he's a totally different player, and it's just fun to see that.
George, you talked about some of the things you've learned from Eric, just on the off-field social justice things over the offseason. Are there any examples of things that you can point to, or things you've learned from guys like that, or Richard, or things?
I think one of the the story that stuck with me the most. This was back in, I'd say, March or April. Eric and Sherman both shared stories about when growing up when you get your car and stuff. For me personally, it was hey, if you get pulled over, George, just pull over the side of the road, be polite, and everything's gonna go fine. And for Eric and Sherm, the conversations that they had with their parents were significantly different. And, for me, like, I mean, I didn't know that. Like, I grew up in small towns of Iowa, in the Midwest. Like, I didn't really grow up around that at all. And so hearing their stories of how, like, Eric Armstead had the conversation with his parents about, hey, you have to do this, 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 and this. And then, like, we just pray that it goes right for you because of that you're black. And that was a crazy thing for me to even listen to because I'd never experienced anything like that. And that's just one story that's very much stuck with me. And like I said, I try to listen, I try to learn, and I just try to be a better person from it.
George, you mentioned a couple of weeks ago having watched Jordan Reed, a lot of his film. What's it been like having him, in the locker room, on the practice field? You mentioned, Devontae Adams releases, things like that. Are you learning things from Jordan too, now that he's right there in the locker room with you?
Jordan's he's been so much fun to have in our room. He's fit in perfectly. He's learning. He's open to coaching. Our offense, like, it's similar to what he had when Kyle was in Washington, but it's very different now. It's grown a lot, and he's learning. And at the same time, like, he's showing us, like, his releases that he does. Like, he had a choice route, basically made a guy almost fall over in the stadium, and just like how he puts his feet down, on his releases and stuff like that, and how smooth he is when he runs. It's awesome to see that again, because that's the guy I watched on film from a couple years ago, and just to see that he still has it and he looks really good doing it. It's just fun. And he's been very vocal in our meetings. He's learning really well. He picks up the offense. I'm trying to show him what I can help him in the run game stuff, and he's picking that up too. So it's fun to see because we have a lot of weapons in that tight end room, and I think a good 4 tight end set I think would be very good on Sundays.
Hey George, somewhat of a random question, but you all had a post Super Bowl party at the American Airlines Arena. If you attended, I'm just wondering, was that like the worst party you ever had, or was it something cathartic to be among your teammates in that setting after the game?
Oh, making me relive it. All right, I love it. It was actually, obviously it sucks, but at the same time, we did have a fantastic season. Obviously just didn't end the way we wanted it to end, but we did get to celebrate, the whole season we had. We had 13 wins. We had home field advantage. Dominated the first 2 rounds of the playoffs that we played in, and so yeah, we celebrated that. Was it as fun as it could have been? No, but I enjoyed the hell out of it. I got to meet Lil Wayne, and so that was on my bucket list. And now I have a selfie with Lil Wayne. I'll post that at some point in my life, and I'm really looking forward to that. So I had a good time with my teammates. I know not everyone showed up, but like it was really fun to get up there and just let it all loose and move on. Honestly.
Hey, George. Yesterday, Kyle mentioned that after you had first met Charlie Werner in Nashville, you said you had the right mentality because he was getting sick of all the pass patterns. He wanted to run block. What's your advice to Charlie to make sure that he can get off on the right foot when it comes to the run blocking in the NFL, since he hasn't had that preseason experience yet?
Well, Charlie, with or without me, Charlie's going to be a good football player. Just watching him on film, watching his mindset in practice every single day, how he attacks it, how he wants to be better every single day. He asks questions. He critiques himself. He's operating like a professional football player as a rookie, and so that's really fun to see. It's awesome. I try to help Charlie out. Really, the mental side of the game is, physically he's gifted. Like, he's going to be just fine. He's just got to learn, his steps, his hands, and once he's comfortable with the playbook, I think he's going to excel. And he's doing really well in the passing game as well. And so where I try to help is the mental side. Like, hey, Charlie, if you mess up a play, it doesn't matter. Just go to the next one, man. Like, just flush it, go to the next one. The great thing about football, there's always the next play, unless it's the last play of the game. And so as long as you don't let one play snowball into the next play, you're going to be a great football player. So, and he's done a really good job with that. Like, he's had a bad pass pro maybe, and the next play he comes back and has 3 good run plays in a row. And he's ran a couple really good routes that Jimmy's found him in team periods. It's really awesome to see. So, he's fitting the mold really well, and he's also making a name for himself out there in the practice field. So I'm just looking forward to seeing him on a Sunday.
Hey, George, you said you work on something specific new basically every day. Do you challenge those young guys with anything specific every day? And how would you say, you are as sort of a veteran now with those guys?
I think Embo does such a good job, my tight ends coach. So we've been doing like 4-day blocks with our training camp, and after every 4-day block, he gives all the tight ends like a note card with the 3 things that he thinks you should improve on, and the one in the run game, one in the pass game, and then one just overall. And so he gives that to us as something to like, hey, this is what, in my opinion, is the thing that you need to, work on. And so I take those things for myself, and I say, okay, well, if I need to improve the top of my route, okay, that's what I'm going to focus on today. Hey, my run game, my inside hand needs to be a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to focus on that and some outside zone. Overall, hey, conditioning. Okay, so I got to run a little bit extra practice after practice. And another thing, that's on Coach Embo, and then on us as players, you have to be, you have to look in the mirror and say, okay, what am I doing wrong and what am I doing right? What can I do better at? And you just got to pick the small parts of your game and pick it apart. And that's what I try to do. And I try to do that in our film room, so our young guys see that and they're like, all right, well, I got to do that too. I got to pick my game apart so I can get better. And I think so far we've done a really good job with that in camp. And like I said, I can't talk enough about Charlie. The steps he's taken. I mean, same with Chase, like my other rookie. He's taken so many steps forward. He didn't even know what way was left, what way was right. And now he's gotten the playbook down. He's coming off the ball in the run game. So it's just fun to see. And I think Coach Embry does such a good job of giving us these goals and these critiques. Just because he wants us to play at the highest level possible, and he's allowing us to do that.
Hey, George. Trent's been on quite the roller coaster ride for the last 2 years. What have you seen that stands out from his journey? What stands out about his perseverance and coming back, making his way back to a comeback for this season?
Can you? I missed the first part of your question. Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Trent Taylor has been on quite a roller coaster. So just on his journey.
Oh, wow. Yeah, talk about a roller coaster. Yeah, it was wild. I mean, I live in the same apartment building as him. He's one of my best friends. And so, I knew how hard it was on Trent. And, every single day he's like, all I want to do is play football, so I'm going to do everything in my power to be able to play football. And, I think that was his mindset most of the time. And, I don't want to talk for Trent, but, I just know how he's a hard-headed dude and he loves football. So every decision he made was, to get himself back on the field. And, that's one of the reasons he's one of my best friends, because he has that mindset and he loves football so much. And so it has been a roller coaster, but at the same time, I've seen him at his lowest, and I've seen him, riding it back to the top, and just seeing him this whole training camp and how he's executed, how he's really hasn't missed a step, and he's gotten better somehow, even though he missed it in, a year and a half now. And so he's just doing such a great job, and he's such a fun energy to have out there because he is different. He's got his own swagger to him. He's got that filthy mustache that I absolutely love. And so he's one hell of a player, and he's just continually getting better every single day. So it's just fun to be able to play football with one of your best friends.
All right, thank you, George.
See you guys.
Ready when you guys are for Mike?
Mike, just given the nature of this training camp and the fact that there was, so much less practice time than you guys would typically have, how do you feel coming out of it, looking back in terms of how prepared you are? And what kind of advantages do you guys have, just given the continuity and the season you're coming off of?
I think we all feel very prepared. I think our coaching staff did a great job of getting us there. We maximized the first 2 weeks of the acclimatization period the best that we can to be on assignment, to get moving again, to get our conditioning back up, all that kind of stuff. And then, these last 2.5, 3 weeks of whatever it's been of practice has been fun. And it's been a lot of live bullets, a lot of flying around, a lot of competing, a lot of hard days that really, I think, get us ready for what's to come this season. And I think you hit it on the head. I think we're returning like 18 or 19 of, starters of 22, which is, really unheard of in the NFL, which definitely helps us, and I think gives us a leg up on an off season that was very cut short from what took place, obviously throughout this year.
Hey, Mike. I'm trying to think back to last season. I think you were coming off your knee surgery, and one of the first games you played may have been against the Cardinals and Chandler Jones. Is that right? And I'm trying to remember.
Second week, yeah, the second one, yep.
Yeah, the second one. Just how much better shape are you in now for that challenge, and just what's your just thought process on that matchup specifically?
Well, obviously Chandler is one of the top tier guys in the league in terms of being able to rush the passer and set the edge, and extremely talented, really hard-working and hard-playing guy. And his reputation exceeds him, obviously, for all the things that he's done on the field. But I definitely feel a lot more prepared this time around. I feel like the Cardinals game last year was kind of a turning point in my season. I started playing some really good football and took a lot of good things away from that game. And hopefully we'll be able to build on what I did all last year at that time. And I feel really good out of the training camp that I've had. Feel really prepared, feel the best shape that I've been in, as confident as I've ever been, and excited to get it going. And obviously, you don't want to do it any other way than getting the best in week one.
Hey, Mike. George was just in here in an Eric Armstead T-shirt, and he was talking about what a leader Eric has been, especially around social justice and the conversations you guys have been having. Can you just talk a little bit about what that's been like, and maybe something you've learned over the last week or several months?
I think, first off, hats off to Eric and everybody else that's done an unbelievable job raising awareness and bringing these issues to the forefront of our culture here in America this time this year. There's a lot of things going on and a lot of things that are wrong, and I think it's time for a lot of things to change. But Eric has been at the forefront of that. He's done a great job in social justice, in education reform, and all kinds of things that are different in that regard. And I think the thing that I've learned is just the opening of your eyes. I think it's just a perspective. I think it's the thing that it's about time that everybody gets involved. It's time to stop staying silent on certain things and become an ally to these issues. And I think that's where I've really grown over the last year or so. Is that you finally become awake to the things that have been going on for a long time that you necessarily didn't notice or didn't see or didn't understand prior. And I think I have a lot of my teammates to thank for that. Obviously wasn't in a bad position before, but it certainly helps to see the perspectives and and understand what people go through and find ways to help instead of just staying silent and not trying to make anybody mad. I think it's time that the anger that has come from years and years of hardship is the anger that you should be focused on and be willing to help and fight for. And it's time that we all start doing that.
Hey, Mike, ever since you've been there, Jerick McKinnon has pretty much not been able to play. I guess through the past two seasons, have you been curious, like, what would it be like if he actually, could play? And have you seen signs of what he might be able to add to the offense since he's had kind of this healthy stretch?
I think he's going to add a tremendous amount of things to our offense. I think he's going to be able to be extremely versatile in the position that he's in, and obviously has one of the great masterminds in the game to help him expose all of his talents and all that kind of stuff in Kyle. I know how excited the coaching staff is to get him back and to be able to have him as a tool and a weapon for us. But not only that, and his ability on the field, Jed is a spark plug of energy and confidence, and to be a teammate and to be around him, to have that back and that life back, and to see him excited again to come out and compete day in and day out after 2 hard years of rehab, that can really wear a guy down. And to see how he's responded to that and hit the ground running with that, and the person that he's remained the same, and the energy that he brings each day on top of all of his ability that he certainly still has, is something that we're all really excited about. And and can't wait to see Jet McKinnon, take the field. It's going to be an awesome thing to see him finally in action for the 49ers, and it's only going to help us hopefully win more games.
Hey, Mike, over the years of talking to offensive players about Kyle Shanahan, I've gathered that whenever he installs an offensive play, he does an extremely good job explaining it to everybody in a way that where linemen know exactly where a receiver is supposed to be and vice versa. I'm wondering if you could, obviously without giving away any specifics about a particular play, if you could kind of take me through and help me understand how Kyle does such a good job of installing a play so that you do actually know what all your other teammates are doing.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a master at what the receivers and running backs and skill guys are doing on the outside, but I have a general understanding, obviously, because of the vision that Kyle portrays. I don't think it's necessarily understanding everybody's individual job, but rather getting everybody on the same page and the same goal-oriented thing to this is what we want to accomplish, and here's each guy's role in that. And I think, especially in our run game, you see it. That's where we all get to meet together at times for that, and because we all are trying to accomplish the same mission in the run game, and all 11 guys are required to have a good and successful running game and consistent running game to go. Now, in protection, and there's a lot of differences between protection and route running that we don't really need to be on the same page for. But no, Kyle does an incredible job of getting everybody to understand the goal and the mission of what each play and each design that he has and what each guy's role is and how we all fit together is a cool little thing that I don't think everybody else in the league is exposed to because of his ability to just speak through his ability to connect with everybody, that his ability to just break it down in as smart as he is and to make it as simple as everybody is or for everybody as possible. And I don't think there's anybody better in the game at doing that. And it's really, really cool to be a part of those meetings and to see how all 11 guys tie together at different times. And it's the reason that we have the success that we've had.
Hey, Mike, your coaches and teammates have been very complimentary on how you've come back this offseason, this training camp. What was the process that changed between last offseason that kind of gave you the confidence that you're talking about going into this season?
Well, one, I think it's the way that I finished the season and the way that I was able to put things together and the nuances of our offense that I was able to capitalize on. I was able to focus with a lot of coaches. I think that I talk about it over and over again. We have the best coaching staff in the game, I think, and especially in the offensive line room with John Benton, Chris Furster, and Zach Yenzer, and the job that they've helped me to get to where I need to go. And it is my third year in this offense, and it's an opportunity to capitalize on the things that I was doing at the end of last year, and the confidence that I had in my studies in the off season, the training that I had in the off season with our strength and conditioning staff, and the way that I've played here in the last month. It's kind of all starting to come together, and hopefully will continue to come together in the consistent and dominating nature that I need it to, and hopefully continue to grow each and every day, and that's the goal. And it's mastering the little things. It's going never over skipping a detail that we have because there are so many little ones. And I think that anybody that's been in this offense as long as I have or anybody else on this team has, it's the little details of this offense that really require it, or that are required to make it go. And I think that's where we separate ourselves, and that's where I was able to put things together towards the end of last year, coming off of the knee injury, that I was able to capitalize on there and have been able to continue to build on now. And, hopefully only scratching the surface with what I'm capable of doing, and continue to grow and get better and help our team win games.
Hey, Mike, Kyle Posey, Niners Nation. How tough do you think it is for a guy like Daniel Brunskill to move back and forth between positions daily? And how do you think you can help him just get more comfortable as a player?
Well, the good thing about that is that Dan's played a lot of football at a lot of different positions already. So I think he's comfortable in that role. He understands. Dan's a football player. He understands that his role is to fill in wherever he's needed. And this year, he's going to have a prominent starting role for us, and that's going to be huge because he's a damn good football player. And the role that he's had, whether going back and forth at center, guard, tackle, whatever it may be, he's taken, and hit the ground running with all of it. And that's the cool part about Dan as a selfless football player, and the sacrifice that he makes for our football team to continue to do that, because you're right, it's not easy playing as much as the outside world wants to think there's not much difference between center and guard and guard and tackle. Like I said earlier, the little nuances of all that really make your head spin, especially when you're doing it back and forth every day. But Dan's going to be great. He's going to settle into however it shakes out. He's going to settle in and play really good football for us because he's a really good and talented football player and a guy that really is on his stuff no matter where he's put in. And it's exciting to have him come back for us this year and have a role like that. And he's earned that from the way that he played last year. And extremely excited for Dan and the opportunity that he has. And, he's going to help us win a lot of football games too.
The last two for Mike.
Hey, Mike, you've got a lot of guys on this roster, specifically as it pertains to speed and speed to power rushes, D, Bosa, Armstead, even Contavious Street and Kerry Hyder. How much do you think those guys have helped you improve specifically with those sort of pass rush moves? And how comfortable do you feel in defending those moves right now?
Yeah, I think it's extremely beneficial. I don't know if it's necessarily because they're speed to power guys, because they do a lot of different things. And training camp, they're certainly not just giving you speed to power every day, because they're working on their own craft too. The more multiple that they can be as rushers, and Nick is obviously the creme de la creme of having that kind of multiplicity in what he does as a rusher and as a football player. He presents a lot of different problems, whether it's speed to power, whether it's slipping off via, whether it's going inside. So those reps are invaluable because there's not many guys in the league that can do it better. And the same with D and his ability to do the things that he can do on the edge. And Kerry and Contavious and Eric and everybody else that we have that plays on the outsides, they're the same way. And I think Trent will tell you the same thing, and anybody in school, whoever else has played tackle for us. Our training camps are a grind if you play offensive tackle because of the guys that they have across from you. And that's so beneficial because, like I said earlier, week one we're playing Chandler Jones, and he's no slouch either. So you get the best of the best every day to prepare you for the best people that you play on the schedule. And I'm certainly very thankful that I have that opportunity because, we keep harping on it. Iron sharpens iron, and we've been able to do that day in and day out here at training camp. And, it's exciting for us, and it's going to be a great opportunity. But yeah, I think I've gotten a lot of great looks from a lot of different people that are really going to help me throughout the year.
Hey, Mike, I know this guy only just arrived, but Dakota Shepley has an interesting background, having played in Canada, and it seems like he's picked things up pretty quickly. I just wanted to get your thoughts on him and how he has sort of slid in here and picked things up.
Yeah, he's done a great job. He's only been here for, I think, about a week, and the transition's been almost seamless. He's a guy that's dedicated to understanding what's going on out here. It's not an easy thing to just be thrown in the middle of a training camp and come in and compete and do well, and he's done that. And he's a guy that's got a lot of ability. He's a rangy guy. He's a good and efficient mover. And he's a strong cat too. So it's exciting to see what he's been able to do. Obviously, it's all going to shake out here in the next couple days and see what happens. But he's done a great job competing for us, and especially on such short notice and the hard task of coming in here with the team that we have and competing, the way that he has. It has been impressive, and he's been a great guy to be around over the last couple days, and certainly provided a lot of value for us. Coming here in the last, week or so.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.